This happened yesterday as we were about to get off the air. We found out this news that State Senator Cleo Fields out of Baton Rouge sent a letter to Bessie, which is the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, and he is suggesting, or requesting rather, in his letter that the board suspend all athletic activities this fall and rules adopted regarding reopening of the schools for the coming year. He's essentially saying any kind of activity that would include student in-person participation in a group setting, conditioning, practice, team meetings, all of it, done for the fall. This is the kicker, though, from the esteemed state senator, Cleo Fields, who my whole life has just been a career politician. Hell of a career, Cleo. Anyway, he says, I'm hot, y'all. He says, the issue is, quote, too critical to leave up to the Louisiana High School Athletic Association to decide. Let me tell you something. So let me get this straight, Mr. Fields. You're suggesting that one group of bureaucrats in a politically corrupt state, the worst in the country, should make the decision so another group of incompetent suits doesn't have to? Is that what you're basically telling me, Cleo Fields? The issue is, quote, too critical to leave up to the LHSAA? Too critical to leave up to the LHSAA, so you want Bessie to do it? Bessie, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, essentially the board that governs education in the state of Louisiana. You want that board to make this decision? Do I need to remind you that in recent data which came out October of 2019, courtesy of Education Week, Louisiana ranked 49th in public school achievement in our country? You want the people that oversee that pile, that steaming pile of dung, to make this decision, Cleo Fields? Told you I was going to get red-faced. Why? Oh, my bad. The U.S. News and World Report most recent results has Louisiana 48th in the country. Moving on up. Bessie. You want Bessie to make that decision. If kids should be out on practice fields, running and conditioning and playing and doing things that are good not only for overall communities, but their physical and mental health. You're making that decision in July. You want Bessie to make that decision in July about the fall? You wonder why I am so agnostic when it comes to politics, why I just do not care, because clowns like this think their opinion matters and has been running our state into the ground my whole damn life. I hate looking at the U.S. News and World Report rankings, state rankings, and seeing Louisiana 50th. Last in everything you want to be first in, and first in everything you want to be last in. Except football, because that was pretty good this past year. And we just roll over and take it, man. So the LHSAA, yeah. By the way, the organization that the leader of which called his own organization in private emails, which were later disclosed, a, quote, dumpster fire. Eddie Bonine called his own organization a dumpster fire. What do we choose? We're choosing between, the lesser of two evils here? I got a better idea. What I think is a better idea. How about we let parents decide what's best for their children? Not you, Cleo Fields. Not the Bessie board. Not Eddie Bonine. How about we let parents decide what's best for their kids? How about we let people, well-intentioned, rational people, educate themselves and make the best decision for themselves, their children, their families? Earlier today, I'm sitting here, Terrio and I do the Riot podcast on Tuesdays. He's got a son, Houston's 15 years old. Houston's playing baseball this summer. Are Ryan and John Terrio incompetent parents? Are they bad people? Are they negligent because they're allowing their child to play? No. They educated themselves. They looked at the protocol that the team for which Houston plays has put into place to try to keep them as safe as possible, and they're okay progressing. I have a nephew. He's 10 years old. His parents are two of the most loving people you'd ever want to meet. Most committed people you'd ever meet to your parent, to their children. You know what their son, my nephew, is doing every weekend this time of year? Travel ball, baseball. He's at tournaments every weekend. Are they incompetent, negligent parents because they're allowing their 10-year-old son to play? Or are they informed, aware of the risks, and willing to proceed? Why do we need Bessie or the LHSAA or Cleo Fields to tell us anything we need to do about how we should live our lives? If anything herein with all of this coronavirus stuff, the thing that pisses me off the most with all of this, it's that I got people in suits sitting in ivory towers telling me how I should live my life and take care of my family. You can go straight to hell with that. I got no time for it in my life. And you shouldn't either. Sick of it. Too many people just sitting on their hands, being quiet. And I'm guilty of it too. It'll pass. We'll let go. But we're getting to this point now where we got Cleo Fields writing letters to Bessie about if we're going to have a high school football season. Stay in your lane, man. What you got to do with that? Nothing. By the way, did you notice last week the American Association of Pediatrics, some 70,000 members of pediatricians across our country, unanimously put forth their recommendation last week for the fall, and they are recommending that children return to school in the fall. So 70,000 some odd pediatricians across the country who formed this group who are all advocating for kids to return to school. They're wrong, right, Cleo Fields? But you nailed it. Gotta wake up, y'all. You give and you give and you give and you give and you give, and before you know it, you're like that frog in the pot, man. You're swimming in that water, they keep turning up the heat slowly, and before you know it, you're cooked. No thank you, Cleo Fields. I don't need you in my life. And it ain't just about Cleo. He's just the one that wrote this letter. It's any politician. I don't need you in my life. I don't need you telling me what to do, how to raise my kids, how to make informed decisions for my family. And that touches everything, from school to sports to business to all of it. And you know what's happening more and more? And in particular, I'll stay in sports here as it relates to sports. If you actually, this is the thing maybe more than anything that I've been screaming about. If you're actually paying attention, if you can for a second stop zeroing in and focusing on the COVID counters and the blue checkmark mafia all over social media, and look, if I look up to my right, I'm looking at the basketball tournament in Ohio. There are people there of their own free will playing in that tournament. If I drive by almost any high school in the state today, there are young people there working out in their weight rooms of their free will and their parents allowing them to be there, putting trust in their coaches. Drive down Nicholson, LSU's football program, voluntary workouts. We can chuckle about that, but the bottom line is if those kids felt threatened, felt unsafe, they wouldn't be there. Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, Drew Brees going to Colorado, Cam Newton working out with his receivers, with Mohamed Sanu. Look around you. We've made our decision collectively. Not everybody. Some people, if you're at risk, stay home. But please. I've told you this before about my son. He's a heavily at-risk child. We don't let him go anywhere. Only in the last 2 weeks has he started going back to therapy with extreme protocols. That's it. Because he's in an at-risk category. So protect yourself. But stop letting people like Cleo Fields dictate your life to you, man. Be like these cats up here playing from Men of Mackey and Boeheim's Army who are playing in TBT in the basketball tournament right now on ESPN. Make your own decisions. Cleo Fields, Jesus help.